What's going on, guys? This is Tbot, and I'm the creator of Tbot, and today we're going to be answering your questions from the Tbot Q&A about my bot or about me. So, the plan for today is to hopefully get through all these questions. I don't really care how long it takes, but we're going to get through these questions today. And the plan is to make this video for me so that it uploads on Wednesday, actually. Wednesday the 19th, yeah. That's when Tbot's third year anniversary is on Wednesday, November 19th. So it's kind of the whole plan is this video is supposed to be a reflection on what Tbot was and the future of Tbot. So that is what it is meant to be. So today we're going to go through and answer these questions. If you're new here, Tbot is a bot created by me, T-Bone, and it was made to showcase community deck lists made by community members. We don't go showing any deck lists, so it has to get pre-approved by me and a bunch of judges. And if I see a deck with a bunch of downvotes in Tbot submissions, it is most likely gonna get. How'd that get a pumpkin now? Dude, I kinda thought I liked it with an X there. Hold up, what happened, dude? How did the pumpkin get there? I don't know. But anyways, if I see a deck list that has a bunch of downvotes, it'll likely get denied. So that's the plan. But Tbot is a bot. It shows a bunch of deck lists made by the community and stores them in a database. And then when you guys use the command, it just pulls them from the database to showcase to you. That's all it does. So, it shows stuff like YKM, as card info commands. Because TCC actually asked us to implement this back when card bot for PZH was dying. And was supposed to be a ticket into r/PZH, but it didn't happen until like this year, That's what added cardfish was supposed to be. We thought it would be via TCH, probably both thought it was our ticket to get into r/PZH, but really wasn't until 2025 when people started talking about it again, r/PZH. Tbot, it's a deck database bot. It stores and showcases community built deck lists by random people in the community. I'm gonna go and do not stop. It just doesn't bother me. Hopefully not. But Tbot, it does a lot of different things. We're not gonna go into all of it right now because this is not meant to be a Tbot tutorial. So the brief overview of Tbot is that it showcases community built decks. And there's a couple ways you can find these decks. You can do the hero command, help HG, etc. Help SF, help SP, any of them. Help siblings, you can just also do HG. Some people find it less amount to type HG compared to help HG. It's either that or people are more aware of the heal commands and accessing decks this way than the help commands. It's one of those two that which is why more people use the heal commands. I actually tried to figure that out, but I think it's just because it's less to type, and people are kind of lazy that way. But yeah. Tbot also has the slam thing where it puts on a status every 5 minutes. Yeah, I think I made it 5 minutes now because it feels like 10 minutes was just a bit too long. So I made it every 5 minutes from now on. But without any further ado, let's get into these questions. We have these questions organized, so we're not doing them from top to bottom. We have them organized in a very specific way that I want to answer them first, okay? So we're not gonna do it top to bottom, we have them organized in a very specific way. I did not come up with pre-generated responses though. I'm gonna try to come up with something on the fly and make it actually pure genuine to you guys. That's the plan. So let's get into the first question. This one is from ParaJay. Do I have it up? Okay. This one's from ParaJay. He asked, what was the reason for Tbot and why didn't you stick with the original idea if the current idea wasn't the original idea? So let's start off with this side of it first. what was the original idea for Tbot? So the original idea for Tbot was actually something. Well, I don't want to say it was too much, but it is kind of a lot different than what we do right now. The original idea for Tbot was a website. Anyways, put something out here. Go back to it. So idea for Tbot was a website for a web development class. I'm just gonna put some in the other. Yeah, so the original idea of Tbot was it's a website, and I made it back in high school. Would have been doing senior year, yeah. We're doing senior year, so I made it back in high school, this website, and I haven't touched it in like probably years, dude. Probably haven't touched this website in years, but this was the original Tbot idea, believe it or not. And back in high school, I was DMing literally anybody that I've seen on my DMs list, or literally anybody I've seen this over. Because I need to get data to put onto the website. I need to get something to put on the website that I at least feel like half decent about, and it would feel like somewhat of a project for what I was doing for my skill level at the time. And, you know, this website, it's not the best. It's definitely not the best. There's ways that it could be improved, but I'm not worried about that right now because I left this website like years ago, dude. And because of, you know, we turned this into a little Discord bot. Of the Discord. Let's go one out. Make the idea into a bot. To a Discord bot. Now, why I left the website? Okay. Yeah, why did I keep on mistyping? Is because. So, now I gotta fix this. Alright. So, the reason why we left the website was mainly for just the reason of it was. It's so hard to design. Oh, it's not wait. Well, it is kind of hard to design a website and make it actually scalable. Something like Tbot, on an actual website, like this was just beginner level stuff that I was just throwing things together to get done with this project. This was the original idea of Tbot, and once I figured out that it was not much, it's actually easier to create a Discord bot than it is a website. Because with a Discord bot, you'll at least be given stuff to you. You still have to learn how to code and all that, but you get objects and stuff from Discord. You get objects and all of that stuff from the library, which is really helpful. You don't have to come up with your own objects or functions. You do have to come up with your own objects and functions for some things, but you know, not for stuff like embed builders and all that, which is really nice. Of what I felt it would be to scale it. And when I say scale it, I mean a couple of different things. So, in terms of scalability, we would actually have to just showcase these images. Like, we would have to showcase these images. Just images. And we would have to, like, make it so that you guys could flip the image or something to get the description. Because when websites fail, so long that you have to scroll all the way down the bottom just to see one specific deck, I'm like, nobody wants to do that, you know? Nobody wants to scroll down to the bottom of a website just to see one specific deck. I could look up the name of it, but this is not really as simple as it is with Tbot. It's way much more simple to use Tbot than whatever this is, you know? We have all of the hero lists and stuff, but this hasn't been updated in like years, dude. That's why stuff like Maniacal Pilots and Temple Imps is still here. Okay, Flavia. Thick anti-hero, dude. Remember this fight deck? This fight deck was like from years ago, dude. Shit, when was this fight deck actually? No, I'm probably gonna get copyrighted if I play it. I'm probably gonna get copyrighted if I play it, but I made this back in like, would have been 2021 maybe? No, it's probably no. It would have been 2022 actually. The same year I created Tbot. Yeah, yeah. It would have been 2022 because I was in high school. I was a high school senior then. Yeah. But like this, dude, from Happy Stream, dude. Yo, Happy, you remember this deck, dude? Optimized Quavebot. I remember that dog again. But yeah, this deck is from years ago, dude. Happy. If you see this video, let me know if you remember this deck list. But so yeah, how I got these deck lists, I would just DM random people like Happy Stream. Or if you was around back then, 2022, you probably got a DM from me asking about the website, you know. And if I could add you to the website, I would always ask for permission before I could do this because it's like I shouldn't really be sharing this information if you guys don't want me to. So, but anyways, this was a senior project for web development class. It was kind of weird because we had a whole. It was kind of like one of those things where you'd learn about job stuff in high school. But it was weird because it was supposed to be one about like IT stuff. It was learning about Photoshop, which I guess Photoshop is kind of like computer related. And then we learned about video editing, like no, the same way hidden, you know. And then when I saw website development, the website development portion of the class, like, this is what I want to do, you know. This is what I want to do. Some portion of development, you know. But this website, it never really worked out because of the scalability. Yeah, I should explain what I mean by scalability in the comment. I say scalability, like, wasn't aware of the best ways to design a website. That wouldn't take up a lot of space on the project or in terms of people having to scroll to see our decks. The thing is with Tbot, you just have to click a couple buttons. You just have to click a couple buttons, and then you'll see all the decks. You know, with Tbot, you can just click a couple of buttons. And bam, you'll see all the decks here. With the website, you know, people at school all decks. With the website, people are forced to scroll, which is not really ideal. You know, it's like the only issue with the Discord bot, the only issue of Tbot as a Discord bot, is trying to explain the project to employers. Because I kid you not, majority of people don't know about Discord or what a Discord bot actually is. You know, the only issue I feel like with Tbot is that explaining because I'm not trying to only make something for you guys. I'm trying to make something that I can list on my resume as like, oh hey, this developer created something, way amazing that we should hire him. That was the second half of the goal of Tbot. I was trying to create something unique and that nobody else has built, because that's one of the hardest things in programming, is to find something that somebody hasn't already done. And I kind of did that with Tbot, employees, employers, you know, if them are not aware of Discord or Discord bots in general. So it becomes really hard to explain Tbot to employers for this reason and be like, see, I'm trying to explain it to you, but it's like, dude, I'm fine to explain it to you because I would try to like list out the languages and stuff that it does, but it's really kind of hard to explain everything if you don't understand like the general idea of what a Discord bot is or what the Discord platform even is. So sometimes it can be hard to explain it to employers exactly what this is doing and why I created it this way, because they're just not aware of the background. And another reason, I should put this up here, hold up. I misspelled school. There we go. The reason I left the website. Website idea is that, well, I just didn't personally feel like people were actually using the website and it was actually getting the attraction I wanted, you know. The attraction I wanted was hopefully like something that people would use. It didn't have to be like on the daily, but you know, when you needed to find a deck list, you could go to this website and like try to find some good decks. But this also at the same time, it's not a good site for deck list because back at the time I would just allow anything because I needed something. I needed something to create a pot to showcase on that site. But at the time it was meant to be, a website database. And it does a lot of dumb things that I would have changed now these days if I was aware of how things work. Like, for example, I could have had a database to store all these deck images, descriptions, and everything, and then just inputted all of that way. But at the time, I didn't know anything about databases. No, I didn't know anything about Discord bots until then. Until I started creating Tbot, you know. It's just so much easier. It's because it was not getting the attraction I wanted. And I felt nobody was using it. It was not solving any problems with that. Jeez, I've spent 19 questions on it. I've spent 19 minutes on this question, kind of. The PZ Heroes community. This video is going to be long, I can already tell. PZH community. You guys have asked, like, what Tbot, what the Inspire Tbot, and I'm just going to recopy it, probably. I'm going to give a brief overview and then recopy it, probably. No. Yeah. So, felt like I needed to create, to pivot to something different that people could use and it would gain the attraction that I felt was needed. For my time spent, you know. With the website, I was like, dude, this is not really useful at all. It feels like nobody's using it. Let's backtrace and figure out a different way to do things. And be useful to good chunk of people. When I say good chunk of people, means like, I mean, everything has a user base. Everything has a user base, and everything has its use cases. The main thing that we want to figure out is how do we sell that to users? How do we sell that to users? How do we get people to use the project? And how do we get people to want to, get hooked on it and continue to use it? That way, it doesn't feel like, oh shoot, nobody's using this. Why do I keep on developing it? So it has to have a user base. Let's have an impact, and people will want to use it. A chunk of people. And what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? That's still a problem, yeah. Some sort of problem that community is facing. Shit, how many words can I type on Discord? And Tbot accomplishes this. Tbot as a Discord bot accomplished this within a website. A website within the website data. Because it has a huge user base. That people there's a huge user. Did I misspell it? User base? No, it's user base. And I do feel like I've had a big impact on the PVZH community. Am I gonna have to split this up into 2 different questions? And it's 2 different responses? I don't know, this is way too long of an answer, but I'm trying to be genuine and come up with things on the fly. I'm not pre-generating these responses. I do feel like I had a huge impact on the PVZH community, because literally anybody well, I'm not gonna say everybody knows about Tbot, because there's always constantly new people joining the r/PVZH Discord, or joining any PVZH over. Like, how do I find deck lists? What is this Discord bot called Tbot? And I think anybody who actually tries to explain Tbot and what it does, I don't think it's hard to explain necessarily, but if you're trying to explain it to like a new person, it might be a bit challenging to explain. But I think anybody who has showcased a new user how to use Tbot. Seeing Tbot solve many problems for the PVZH community, so and so yeah, it solves many projects as helping players find deck lists, find card info for a specific card, and so on. So I do feel like Tbot solves both of these. Or better than the website did. If this doesn't make sense to you guys, I'll try to be around on the premiere. The time when this video is premiered, I'll try to be around or respond to the chat, the premiere chat. That's what I mean. I'll try to respond to the premiere chat. That way, I can try to get some more information from you guys on what your questions were. But if you guys don't have anything, I won't respond, or just be having the video on the background. I'll try to look at it here and there, see what you guys are thinking about. But the questions aren't in a specific order, so if you guys might have to wait if you're watching the whole premiere, which is good. Might be an issue. If you guys are waiting for your question to be asked, and be like, oh, I have more questions to your response, T-Bone. Okay. Hardest thing about T-Bone is currently is trying to explain the project. I shouldn't say it. T-Bone is more than an it. explain the project to employees because the majority of them were not aware of Discord or Discord bots in general, which is crazy. There was this guy from Voice Energy at the career fair actually back. I was so hard. It was hard as hell to explain to him. I'll be like, seriously, I'm saying the languages that I use and everything. Like, and then he goes like, "What other projects you should create? I don't understand what this thing does and its impact on the people." So he asked me what other projects I'd created. Like a group project I created for school. It's like, well, why don't you list them? Like, I don't like listing school projects on my resume. It's just lazy, sort of. But if the project that I created in school is actually project I created for school assignment is actually useful, then I'll list it. But something like a casino game that nobody uses, and I created it just for a Python assignment, I'd be like, why would I list that? It has no user base. There's no problems it solved. Nobody's using it. Why would I list it? So yeah. What else did he say? Okay, so now we're gonna get to the question of what was the reason for Tbot. So the reason for the website. Before we get to the Discord bot, the reason for the website. Before we get to the Discord bot. Discord bot version of Tbot. The reason for the website was side of things. The reason for the website was nothing too much. I just needed something for a I'm gonna have to showcase this in two different examples. It's an annoying message. Discord Nitro. Tempting. I don't know. We'll see how long it gets. So I have 197 characters left. It's probably gonna get longer than that. So let's look into this. Nothing much. We just needed something for a senior high school project. Dude, can that thing get on why I can't see what I'm typing, dude? Oh my gosh, dude, I can't see. Hold up. High school project for web development. There we go. Of my class. We learned HTML, CSS. We didn't learn JavaScript. Oh, well, we learned some things in JavaScript, but he didn't go over the whole thing in JavaScript, which, I mean, he didn't have +enough time to go over JavaScript. Going over JavaScript doesn't. It might take more than a whole class, but it depends. Like if you teach like C++, we can't teach the entirety of everything in C++, but you can teach like the most important things of a language in one class setting. So kind of wish we have gotten more into the JavaScript side of things, but we didn't really know much about JavaScript because we weren't aware of it. And we was just learning it during like literally the last week before the project. So he didn't ask us to implement any JavaScript. But he said it was cool if you did. The reason for this is gonna take up two different things. Yeah, that is definitely. So for the Discord side, Discord bot version was I needed to. Well, there's a couple of different reasons for the Discord bot side of things. Different reasons. One being, yeah, we're gonna have to put this under the message. When I ever have this typed, I'll just take out what I can, or take out the part that answers your second question was the reason for Tbot. I'm sorry for sneezing, guys. The weather changed. It's kind of messing up my sinuses right now. It's kind of messing up my allergies. This new weather change. That's the reason why I was gonna be sneezing. Okay, I'm sorry. So one being that I need something that would say get my feet dirty in programming. You know, lets me get my feet dirty. It kind of sounds odd, but you guys know what I mean. Dirty in programming, and try to learn some things about how the programming word is. To actually stay in this field. So freshman year of college. It was freshman year, yeah. It was definitely freshman year. During freshman year of college, that was my major. And you know what people tell you? They're like, oh, make sure that, you know, you should actually try to do something in this field and make sure that you like it before you go too far into it. And I understood that. I was like, okay, let's try to build an actual project to see if I like, coding and developing stuff. And the truth of the matter was, yeah, I feel like I was actually accomplishing something and was doing something, and that was gonna, help out a lot of people. And that's what Tbot did. So I wanted to try to figure out if I actually liked programming. Well, people be picking out, so main reason why people pick out computer science and software development is you wouldn't think this is an actual reason, one of the main reasons people do it, but it's for money. It's for money, and I heard this thing on YouTube where people and he was asking people in the major, like, what do you do outside of school? Like, oh, nothing. Like, start developing something, You're gonna be in this major more than just for the money. The money is there. Money is there. The issue is you gotta actually like what you're doing and know how to do it. If you don't have passion, then you're gonna have dread for the business that you're trying to do, or the job that you're trying to do. If you don't have passion for the job you're trying to do, you're gonna have dread, and that's gonna downsize you and make you actually worse than what you think you would be at the project, because you never developed anything because you never wanted to actually get your hands dirty in programming. Jeez, I might have spent 20 minutes on one question. This is crazy. To make sure I want to stay in it. And if you know me, if you guys ask me something, I get personally going for tangents about it, and I shouldn't really be going on tangents about it. I'm trying to explain this, but it's like there's a lot of different things I have to say in order to explain which one I do for Tbot. And this major for my future. So I kind of figured out after I want to do this, after I walked on Tbot, the Disco bot for, I'm like, yeah, this is actually cool. Although it was very beginner level, it was very beginner friendly. The original idea for Tbot, before I started using a database and all that, was very beginner friendly, but it was just so messy, dude. It was so messy. And like most beginner level programming was like that. Most beginner programmers, not most beginner level programs that people. Yes, she's on here. Most beginner level programs are messy. They were just messy because you don't know the advanced stuff with programming. You're just throwing out whatever you can to get something done. With the fullest version of the Tbot Discord bot, we had millions of files, and the reason why we made it is because I didn't know about databases at the time. Dude, just stop talking. Okay. Amy wants you to do that. This major was good for me. But main reason, the main reason, I caps lock or not? Okay, cool. Main reason for Tbot was all thanks to one person. And that is, try hard, dude. Try hard. Without try hard, dude. Wait, he's trying on this server? He should be in the server, dude. What? Now, where's my child at? You was child. When did child leave the server? No. No, when did he leave the server, dude? I know he was in here. No, when did child leave, dude? What? Man, that sucks. That is keep the H tryhard. If you're watching this video, child, you are literally the main reason why I've got Tbot, and I'll get into that next. So, because PvH tryhard had, I don't want to see. It's weird because he had an idea of Tbot before I did it. He had an idea of Tbot before I did it. Was like, okay, you have this Me6 thing, which, dude, me and Charlotte thought about this. He genuinely thought Me6 was that he actually coded that part. I'm like, oh, gosh, you didn't code it, dude. There's no plumbing layers to it. I know how Me6 Premium works. You're able to make any command with it. You don't have to code it. You just put in the information. You just put in the information, Let's just try that Me6 Premium. And he utilized this to make any command he wanted. So, tryhard literally used Me6 Premium to make any command that he wanted. But there's a lot of issues with Me6 Premium, and Tbot, takes those issues that Me6 Premium cannot do. Me6 Premium cannot showcase a bunch of deck lists from one button. Tryhard's thing was literally just showcase the commands, which was useful. It was helpful, but it's like you can't click the buttons to go to the deck afterward. It would just showcase you the commands. Me6 Premium cannot do that. Me6 Premium cannot have a loaded set of buttons and it lets you click to the next button to see the deck list from help command. Me6 just can't do that because it's not a feature of Me6, and it probably won't be a feature of Me6 because of how complicated it would be for Me6 to actually do that. Pretty complicated for Me6 to do that for a couple of different reasons. I'm not trying to stay too long in this one question here. Dude, I need to type in some things so I can see what I'm typing. A command he wanted with Me6. I don't care about typing at this point. 6 Premium, and he utilized this to make commands for any deck list. Now, Shark was kind of allowing anything also at the same time, which is why Tbot at the beginning allowed everything I took what Shroud, I literally took what Shroud created and made it my own thing. That was way different from E6. It's way different from what Me6. Oh, it was kind of the same thing Me6 was doing, but it took those things that Me6, Shroud's Me6 Primo was doing, and it amplified it, and I made it my own stuff. So let me actually show you what this Me6 Primo would do. I'm just gonna pull up an all message about it. Exclamation point OTK Sabi. It's gonna show Tbot stuff because it doesn't count the exclamation point, which is annoying. But anyways, this was where was it? Oh, come on, Shroud, dude. Here we go. We'll use this example. But like, this is what Tbot did. It had an exclamation point, which was weird. Shroud made an exclamation point, and it's like every bot time that used message commands would use the exclamation point prefix. Because like, how are you making this different from any other Discord bot? You know, how are you changing Tbot? How are you changing the B6 prefix or like every other bot's prefix? But at the end of the day, this is not code. This is not code. You don't have to code this at all. You could make this with no programming knowledge. You know, you could have a Me6 bot that with no programming knowledge. You could literally make a Me6 bot with any commands, no programming knowledge. But there's a lot of things that Me6 does, Tbot does that Me6 Premium cannot do. Me6 Premium can make select maze and it can have responses to them, but it can't come up with buttons for a select menu that you can just click to see the next dex and all that. It doesn't have that because it would be complicated for it to have that. If Me6 Premium would create that, it would be like kind of like, oh, why do we gotta create Discord bot? But Me6 Premium, I don't even think it has like stuff you can do with models and all that. When I say models, I mean Discord forums and all that. I don't think Me6 has anything for that. Issue with Me6 Premium is that they didn't have a code to it. Wasn't coded to do this. Just threw some random info into Me6. Into Me6 and called it a day. That's pretty much happened. He threw some random info into Me6 and called it a day. Yeah. When people wanted to invite this bot, I had to explain to them that it doesn't work this way. Because Me6 Premium is designed to only work in the one server that somebody paid for with. Now, of course, you can pay for more servers, but that'd be very expensive for Triad to do. Triad could pay for it. I mean, he can't pay for it. I guess Triad's not West or anything, but it would become very expensive for Triad to literally buy Me6 Premium. You would also have to recreate all the commands for that server, which would be way too much work for Triad to do. So, Triad, your Discord bot, your Me6 Premium is what started Tbot, but it's not really effective at what people actually want to do with it. It's not really effective at its job. That's what I'm trying to say. Jeez, I'm about to spend an hour on one question actually. Back. Alright. Alright, let me go back so I can see what I'm using it for. No, I'm trying to shift it, so. Whatever. There you go. So that's the main issue with charge basic explains that nobody could actually invite to know server and use it. I think you could use the bot DMs. I think you could use the bot DMs. I don't remember if you could or couldn't. No, you couldn't use bot DMs. I don't remember if you could or couldn't, but I don't think you could use the bot DMs. It would just DM you the list of commands for specific help you or specific command. That's what I remember. But with it. E6 also can't have aliases or additional commands. It's for something. It can't. Yeah, I can't. It just has one command name and that's it. What's the Spino's question? Yeah. So, when I hoard, people were trying to invite this bot. And use it elsewhere. So it's like, alright. Alright, let's see if I can use killing to solve this problem. Yeah, we was like, okay, you guys really want to invite this to your Discord. I'm trying to explain to you that's not possible, and why it's not possible. Because it's me 6 p.m. That's what it is. It's me 6 p.m. It's not coded to do this for any software. It's just me 6 p.m. So the PVH community. The US community is facing. Okay. And Tbot did that. Oh. Me and Tbot even fought. Yeah, me and Tbot even had fights. It was crazy. But me and Tbot even had fights between this disco bot. Me and Tbot already had fights in the server all the time about this Discord bot, about Tbot and why it's better than Tbot. I could go on for days about that. Why Tbot was better than Tryhard's Me6 Premium Discord bot. It's not even Discord bot. I don't call Me6 a Discord bot even. No. It's not Me6 is coded and it's very challenging to figure out how it's coded, but eventually, Tryhard even apologized for thinking he could compete with my code. I'm like, dude, there's no way you could compete with Tbot. With a Me6 Premium? With Me6 Premium? Dude, Tbot outwars Me6 Premium any day of the week. Outwars Tbot. Outwars Me6 Premium any day of the week. Yeah. He wouldn't have saved my bodies, indirectly saved lives, which, well, you affected me. I'm like, dude, I'm really saving lives here? I'm really helping people? In 10 years, I'll be so. Trial thinks so. This was set in 2023. We still have 7. We still have actually 8 more years to try to figure out how to code the meaning of life. Because we want Trial to actually. He said he wouldn't be surprised if I coded the meaning of life. So maybe before that 10 years comes around, I'll show up to Trial and be like, I coded the meaning of life. Although, I don't know. It won't be exactly the meaning of life to some people, but, coding the meaning of life would be very, I don't know. I don't even know how you do that, actually. But, could make some life recommendations of how to, what the meaning of life is to you. I don't know, you could have, like, AI and machine learning try to give you the meaning of life recommendations based on, but people would have used that, honestly. I am very smart. I know. sometimes we don't feel like very smart, but if you apply your knowledge, you don't waste it, then you become very smart at what you're doing. But he wanted to apologize for his thinking complete his code. What I do for the PvH community is so appreciated, and I can't thank you enough. He buys indirectly save lives, And I get the feeling that Tbot, it does so much for the PvH community that if it dies, then I don't know what happened what people would do if Tbot died. I'd probably just retrack back to databases, I'd probably just retrack back to the databases and all that stuff PvH, but even people whoa, why don't we just do Tbot for Tbot is kind of different from, databases like that. It is, in some ways. Even had constant fights. It's about why Tbot was better than his Me6 premium bot. I gotta say, his Me6 premium bot idea was a bad idea because Child is busy with life and everything. He had a job and everything. He had a job in IT support. So, if you had a job in IT support, then you don't really need to learn about programming, but it would be good if you had more experience in IT. But Child, he didn't. He just wanted something that he could feel like it would help people in his server find decklists made by the community. That's what Child's idea was. Me and Child pretty much. I stole tiny pizzas of Child's project. Me6 idea. But yeah. There's Me6 bot premium bot. That had no coding. That had no coding for it. And Child's Child eventually apologized for arguing with me about this. Tbot was. That's actually so. Child. We give all of the reasons for Tbot thanks to that legend, Child. If I didn't stumble across his Me6 premium bot, and people weren't wanting to invite it to their Discord servers or actually use it, it would be Tbot wouldn't be a thing without Child. Tbot would not be a thing without Child. Would not be a thing without Try Hard. Without the GOAT. Try Hard. What do you think? As if I didn't stumble upon his Discord, upon his Me6 premium. His Me6 premium. And actually see if you're wanting to invite the bot. They can only use the bond charts over this thing. They can only use the bond charts over. I wouldn't have created Tbot, and it's weird. It's weird, but we quitted everything to Tryhard for that. We quitted everything because without Tryhard, I probably wouldn't have created Tbot. And that would have been a weird world if I didn't create Tbot. That would have been a weird world. I would have tried to still find something that would have helped some sort of community that I actually feel involved around. But it might have not been PvZH. I don't know. It's either that or I would have actually tried to figure out how to make the website scale better. When those two things would have happened, would have tried to figure out how to promote the website and make the scalability even better. But without Tryhard, dude, we wouldn't have this Discord bot. Without Tryhard, we wouldn't have Tbot. That's what happened. What am I getting rid of? Okay, I'm gonna wait this portion of it. And then we responding to that same command. To get the second part of the question alone. Did I feel like I accomplished everything here? Shoot, should I include screenshots of what the bot is? No, people watch the video. Shoot. I think I should. I don't know. We'll just include a some sort of screenshot in it. I don't know. We'll include some sort of screenshot in it. Me and Shroud actually had disputes about it. It was crazy, dude. It was crazy. I know I can save this image, but it's way easier just do it. It's way easier and quicker to do it this way. Alright. It's just like PvZ Heroes community is facing. I'd say was facing at the time. Yeah, I said I would spend down this question. That's pretty much what happened. There we go. Shoot. I'd say how much better Tbot was. No, me and Child would always have those arguments. And it would come from a million different reasons why Tbot was better. It was kind of obvious why Tbot was better. Because Tbot took your Music project idea, and it evolved upon it, doing things that Music Premium could not do. So that's why. That is why. I'm gonna pre-copy this response and everything, dude. Pre-copy this response. And modify it a bit. Because a lot of people ask this question. It's not that I hate it when people ask the same question. It's just like, come on, dude, why? So what else do we do? What are we doing? I thought I pulled up a different question. I did. Oh, that's the same question, dude. Like, he already asked the same question, but he just added, what was the Pokemon legendary? What? Okay. Alright, ParaJay. Alright. Like, you asked the question twice. I don't think you realized it, maybe. But he asked the same question twice. But was it a different question? I can't tell. It kind of is, because he asked why I couldn't tell my button. I need to figure out on this question. No. Alright. So I'm gonna put the same response here. Because I already explained it. I'm not gonna re-explain it. I already spent an hour trying to explain it. The first one, you know. Alright. Reason for Tbot was... Let's get this question a lot. It is coded in JavaScript. So Tbot's languages in itself. It's programming languages. Or mainly JavaScript. It's mainly just JavaScript. Node.js. So we don't really code Discord.js because Discord.js is just JavaScript. But just taking the objects and stuff. You know. Mainly JavaScript. SQL. But it's not data, but it's not Pokemon. Some people would consider SQL Pokemon, but me personally, SQL, you do need to learn the commands of it, but was used to store the data. for Tbot, so I don't know. Some people call SQL programming language. It sort of is because it has commands to it and everything, but it doesn't have the main stuff that a programming language does. It doesn't have, well, it kind of does have variable names of tables and all that, but I don't know. It just doesn't really feel like a variable any of that. Well, some people call it a programming language. No, some people call it HTML programming language, but it's really not. Call it a programming language. Others don't. At the end of the day, it's just a database. At the end of the day, SQL is just a database, and we still use JavaScript to pull the information from the database and showcase it. So, majority of Tbot is just JavaScript. You just use SQL to store the data, like all the deck lists, all the deck builders, all of the hero information, all of that junk. I don't want to store it internally in the program. I don't want to store it internally in the program because that takes too much storage, too much cache, and a bunch of other stuff, and it makes the project look actually way unorganized, But if somebody if a beginner programmer looked at Tbot now, then back then it would have been. It's actually more confusing now if a beginner programmer looked at Tbot now. But it is mainly just JavaScript. Script. I should, dude, I forgot about the images. Whatever, the images are here. Whatever, the images are here. I'm not gonna. Whatever, the images are here. Okay, should I spend an hour? We're not redoing this. What's the next question? I already answered what inspired the question of Tbot. I can't give a brief overview of it, but it was basically, I needed something to get my feet dirty in the programming, and make sure I actually wanted to stay in this major. And I didn't want to ditch it because I figured out, I don't like this after I've already, done through my senior year. So I need something during my freshman year that would actually get my feet dirty in programming. The main reason for Tbot was, one person tried hard. PZ tried actually. He had a exprience bot. That had some of the features of Tbot, but not exactly everything. It would just allow you to look up a deck list by its specific command name. That's the only thing exprience did. And when you try to use help commands, it would just give you the commands. It would just give you the commands of that hero. Tbot was created with JavaScript and SQL to explain that. But this was the main reason why Tbot was created actually. Was because of a guy. Try hard, thank you. If you're watching this video, Chad, thank you. Thank you for letting me steal your idea and improving upon it. Without you, Tbot would not be a thing, Chad. So, if you're watching this video, Chad, I figured I wanted to turn on the server, actually, Chad. Would have been cool if you was, and I could ping you. But you're not in the server, try hard. You're just not. But yeah, try hard was the main reason Tbot was created because of the exprience bot. That's all I gotta say. Let's move on to the next question. Aha! Another person who asked the same question. How compelled you to create Tbot in the first place? So, Luke, or whoever. This is £4 play plus. So, find this question. So, definitely copying that. We'll paste it. Where is it? It's around you. It's definitely around. Here we go. Alright, so I'm gonna redo this. I feel like taking the screenshots. Sure. only take the screenshot on this one occasion that's a different person asking the question. Okay? So once Tryhard actually invited Tbot to his server. Now eventually Tryhard was like, I forgot that. Tryhard did invite Tbot. Invite Tbot. And you know, when Tryhard invited Tbot, it was a time where Tryhard had not trashed his Me 6 idea. And he probably didn't want to trash it. But it was like competing against each other to see who could showcase the best deck list quicker. And, you know, more who could showcase the best deck list quicker. Not the best deck list, because we were just accepting any junk. We were just accepting any deck list we could name. We could say. No. Tryhard literally accepted any deck list, you just have to ping him. You just have to ping him. No. So that's why Tbot in the beginning, it just showcased any deck lists. Everyone was like, shoot, we shouldn't be doing this. So you invite Tbot after a couple arguments. Ton of arguments. I wouldn't say it was a couple, because I feel like we was doing more than just a couple. A couple of arguments between what is better. You couldn't compete with code. You couldn't compete with my code, dude. You couldn't compete with my code. Couldn't compete with my code, dude. Just couldn't. You just couldn't compete with. You couldn't compete with Me6 payment. There's no way to compete with code, because coding, you can make it do whatever you want. Me6 payment, you can't do that. You can't. There's a lot of things that Me6 payment can't do that coding can do. So yeah, that's the main reason. So time eventually trust just together, but there was times where Tbot was in the server and Me6 also was. Dude, when Tbot and Me6 playing were both in charge servers, dude, those were some of the funniest times ever, dude. And, you know, they can invite Tbot, but they couldn't invite Me6 with him, you know. It was some of the most peakest stuff ever, dude. I'm telling you. You should have been around during that time. But that's why Tbot was created. And we get a lot of people asking that because they aren't aware of the history of Tbot, even though I posted it in Tbot announcements once. I did post the history of Tbot and Tbot announcements once. I did. This is the full Tbot story here, actually. Yo, this is literally the full Tbot story. Yo, everybody thought this Me6 Payment was an actual Discord bot. And they could invite to the servers doing the same stuff. This is in fact not the case because Me6 isn't an actual bot, but it was an inspiration for Tbot, you know. It was created November 19th of my first semester of college because of Tbot, and people wanted to invite that bot to them with server, you know. I already explained this before, but that's pretty much what that is. Oh, what? I think that's good enough. This is how to use debuggers. But you know, that's what happened. That's what happened. I like this response better than ParaJay's. I like this response better than ParaJay's. Ah! No, I did not mean to copy that. Do we have any other questions like this? Um. Oh, we don't. No, we do. We do. We do. Alright. Jesus. Whatever. Hausoftoes? How do you pronounce that? Hausoftoes is dude, did I scroll past it? Bet you I did. Hold up. Ah! Did they? No, it's video. I found it. Okay. I don't know why people responded with short to the question. I think they were the first person to ask the question, maybe. Oh, no, I think they were the first person to ask this question. I don't know why people were trolling this. It's actually a pretty good question. But, I'm gonna give this brief overview one more time. One more time. No, this brief overview one more time. No, the reason why I created Tbot is because I needed something to get my feet dirty in programming. I needed to make sure I wanted to stay in this field for my future. And I actually liked what I was majoring in. So, try hard. But aside of this, try hard was like the main reason. The main reason. I could go into more depth this explanation, but we only have so many things left. But a Tbot was meant to solve a problem that the PVH community was facing with finding deck lists, finding good deck lists at the time, and there wasn't too many databases actually when exprience was around. I think that was just the OSS PVH database, and that was it. Probably. Alright. But Tryhard was the main reason we created Tbot. He had this Me6 premium Discord bot. Nobody was using it, but it could only be used in his server. So when people tried to invite to their server, it wouldn't work at all because it's a Me6 premium. It's not coded to do that. It's coded to work in a way of the server that they're paying for. And Tryhard would. I know he wouldn't. I know he would not pay for 400 plus servers that Tbot's in. The 400 plus servers that Tbot's in, Tryhard would not be paying for those. Tryhard would not be paying for those. That would be way expensive. That'd be way expensive. But he would also have to recreate all of those commands for that server also. He would have to recreate all of those commands for that server, and that would take hours upon hours. And Tryhard, I don't think he had the time to dive into a programming language and actually learn about it. I don't think he had the time to do that like we did. I don't think he did. No, because he had a job and everything. We didn't. We were just in college, and we wanted to make sure he actually figured out that programming was a good thing for us. But nowadays, I don't know about programming. Nowadays, with AI and everything, it's like we're here and we're utilizing AI to do a lot of things. It doesn't feel like we're solving the same problems, or we're losing that intelligence to actually go solve problems in our own unique ways. Because we'll just ask AI, how do you do this? How do you XYZ? How do you fix this bug in my code, you know? We'll just ask AI to do all that junk. It's just like, you're losing your problem solving skills, people. You are. I feel good. Sure. We'll send that same thing, yeah. What do we got? We got the same question, too. Done. Okay, so let's see here. Now this is sort of a different question. This is a different question, so I have to actually. I'm gonna take the same response and modify it a bit. I actually might make like 3 different responses to Kiera's command. I might have to do that. I probably should do that. Alright. We are back. I'm surprised I should take a mushroom break, but no big deal. I'm not ready to go to bed just yet. This was kind of the only time I could record this video today, unfortunately. So, let's start off at the beginning of this question. Where's Kiera at? Did I scroll past it? No, we didn't. We started here. So, let's actually think about this for a minute. Because the way you can contribute to Tbot is, I don't know if I'm waiting for people to contribute to Tbot. Okay, so the bot was went into JavaScript. SQL is the database used to store and take information from for deck lists, hero, card information, deck builders, all that, and all that. So, bots went into JavaScript. SQL is just the database. You still do need to know SQL to make the queries and stuff that we pull from to get the data. I'm trying to think of how to approach this question because these are not pre-generated responses, people. Okay, so I think I'm gonna pull up a code example of what Tbot does. So, basic code example. So let's see here. By the way, Tbot's code base is on GitHub, so I'm just gonna pull up from there. Tbot's code base is on GitHub, but we keep a couple of things private, like the token and all of that, so that people can't hack a bot. We keep the token, we keep the database stuff secret. Because if somebody got access to our database or Discobot token, it would not be good. So, index. No, I don't want to pull up index actually. So, basically, let's pull up a build deck embed file. We'll pull that. So we take this row. We take this. This is gonna be kind of quite complicated for me to explain to you, because I don't know if you're a beginner or you're an advanced programmer. I don't know, but pretend this row is a database row that we already have pre-generated. We already know what name the naming command is gonna be. So this is just the database row object that we pulled the information from when somebody types so when somebody types something like at YCam, we pull from a table. When somebody types something like at Tbot YCam, we pull this information from something we call a database table. And this database table is specifically named HGDex. So we just pull it from HGDex. We pull everything YCam related from HGDex. And we do that by checking the name. Select store. We select asterisk. Like this would be the query. We would select asterisks from HGDex. Swale name equals YCam. Something like that. Well, it's probably like young Kim Money because, yeah. So I don't do that. Yeah, when name equals YCam Money, that would be the query that would get this information. It seems to be simple, but we'd get this information that it would give us the description, the title, the deck type, the archetype, the deck cost, would give us the deck creator information, would give us the image. Yeah, it gives us all of that. That is what SQL does. And then we're able to display it with this stuff here. When we have the role name, we'll pull the description, and we'll pull the name from it. We'll pull all of this stuff from it. And we'll pull all this stuff from it, and then we'll just send the embed. So an embed build is actually kind of interesting. it's, something that Discord.js himself has already developed, and that's why we just require the object. We require the object. We take the object and we utilize it. We don't have to make a whole embedded build object. If we had to make an embedded build object, dude, that would suck. Which code is B? I think it's this channel. I hate getting notifications. This is distracting. So I would temporarily mute this channel with my friends for a second. Because I feel like they're talking about Weep over there. They probably are. Oh gosh, is it my over actually? What's going on? Oh, not mine. Okay, we're good. It is my solar. I thought it would have been the other solar, but okay, it's my solar. Anything that we would need to store. Storing this information in the program would be very buggy. So we created a database to store it. And that's what SQL is. It stores information, and then we can grab from it whenever we need to do it. It's the same thing with any deck builder command that you guys send. Any deck builder command that you guys send. We take some sort of information from it, like the deck builder name. We take the color. We take the user ID, and we make sure that the user ID exists in our client's cache. And you gotta make sure it exists in the client's cache, because if it doesn't, then you'll get an error saying that you can't fetch the user. If it does exist, then we get the user ID from the cache. And then we set the thumbnail to equal the user.display after. If we're not able to get the ID, which happens in some weird cases, like Kenmon, because Kenmon doesn't have a Discord account. Then we just we just console.log an error, and we make the thumbnail null. We just make the thumbnail null, so the thumbnail is not there, and we can still get the information from them. But anyways, we map everything to this normalized thing. We normalize the decks and we categorize them. This is how we categorize them. We get the ID. We don't really use the ID to categorize them, to be honest. We get the name, we get the type, the deck type. We get the archetype, we get the cost, we get and then we normalize the type, and we normalize the archetype. And normalizing is just replacing all of these special characters. So we should be doing the name, actually. I don't know why we do that to the type name and all that, I don't know. But, yeah, so then we get the description, and then we get the image, and then we get the creator, and we store it to this map. Store this to a map, which can take all of this information and store it pretty good in the program. We store the table name and all that, and then we add the categories here. So if the type, if the deck type that we took from the database, we took from everything. Yeah, how do you... Yeah. Assume that's in the, yeah, it's actually in the... I'm trying to think, yeah, that's in the thing. But here, we just check to see if the deck type category includes any of this. I don't think I'm gonna write this in the response. I think I'm going to do I have to mute my own channel? To mute my own Discord? My gosh, you guys are way too active right now. I'm not being mad or anything, but it's kind of annoying. But so we would check to see if the deck type included meme, ladder, all of that, and if it did, we would add it. We would actually push it into the available categories, because we need it to be, we need to automatically detect if it's a combo deck that's in the query, if a combo deck is listed in the query, if a budget deck is listed in the query, if a competitive deck is listed in the query. We need to check to see if all that's listed in query for us. before we actually go throwing it, because we don't want to throw everything onto it. We want to only throw the deck lists that are there. You know. And of course, you know, if we add them to the filter, we check the filter. We have a filter, we check it. If the filter link is if the filter link is greater than 0, then we push it, which basically means we add it into this variable categories away. We add it into the way. And then we have a blank way. Yeah, this is how we actually sort the deck lists by hero and by name. We just do a local compare, which yeah, I think this plays simple as that. We just compare the characters for each hero. And then that's how we actually sort them. The heroes and the names of the deck list. And then we have these select options. Yeah, the select options is just a blank away. Select options is a blank away. But we take the category labels, and if they show up, so we force want to make sure we add all our options at the end. And we want to add at the end, not the beginning. We want to make sure that we add category options that have decks by doing this. We take the variable categories. We take the variable categories list, and we slice it. We make sure that we don't include the OR, because we add that later at the bottom. So it's shows up at the end of the select menu. But we slice it, which means we're getting everything from that away. So that means we're getting every single category from this variable categories list. And we're getting the index of the way. This is where we're getting the index of the way. The specific categories. All of these have a length feature. All of these have a length check inside of them. And if the length is less than, if the length is greater than 0, then we add it to the select menu. And we have this config label, this deck list cat length, all of this came from this config label, config label is just this. That's all the config label is. We have the length here. The value is cat, which the cat is, the first thing that appears. When we're getting, it's the index, the name that's there. So, we'd be getting, make it back. So, if we had an array that was combo mean, dude. Combo mean like that, we'd be getting the combo name that was stood there, and we'd be getting the mean name, but we would do it in order, in a live loop. That's kind of what this does. Make sure we get all the names that appear in that array. And then we add the option at the end, and then we have the select menu. Which, I kid you not, we just add the options, which is this select options, which is the string option builder. We have a loop for that. And then we make an embed for that. Which embeds are just taking what Discord an embed builder object that Discord gives you, and you use methods that they already provide you. Set title is a method, set description is a method, set color is a method, set thumbnail is a method. They're all methods. And then at the end of the day, we make sure that we return these, and then we export it so we can use it in other functions of the program. That is the basics of how Tbot works. So, I kind of did need to explain that to answer your question. So, that is pretty much the basics of how Tbot works. Do I want to take a... No, I don't want to take a picture of the code. It's going to be too many pictures. This kind of makes it, oh, my dog's back. She knew we wasn't laying down. Come on. Database thing. Makes it a bit harder. Definitely harder for people to contribute, because people to contribute, but contribute because you would have to get added access to the database. Enough to give you access to that data. To give you access to this data. It definitely wasn't my intention to do this, but I need to actually simplify Tbot and make it. I need to simplify Tbot for myself, because I did not want to go around and edit 10 different files to add a deck or to update a deck, or to even move a deck. I'd have to mess around with 10 different files. And it's like, this is something there was quite quickly, and then I didn't realize that. So back in 2020, was it 2023? I think it was 2023 for when I had database management class. It's like, okay, this is what companies use to store their data. Like, okay, whatever it is, get on that and start using it. I'd have to trust you enough to give access to this data. And be aware that you are not templing with this data. You're not templing with this data. Not my intention, but some way to simplify things rather than having to edit 10 different files to add a deck list and or even move a deck. So it just became really hard to actually update that stuff without creating bugs in the program. A lot of Tbot's force feed bugs are because of that. It's created a lot of bugs. Bunch of skills. And makes things easier because I just have to add the database. I just have to add the database. On the database. So whether we have to add a new row to the database, whether we have to add a new column or row, yeah, it's got a row. Whether we have to add a new row to the table, or whether we have to remove a row, or whether we have to edit some sort of data already listed in the row, it's just a lot easier to do with an SQL database. And now when I'm creating like any project, I might think like, how do I insert a database into it? Because I don't want to have to come back around here and update 10 different files to add something new. It's a project, and that's what it would be for people who don't use a database. To update multiple files every single time they want to add something new, or if they want to move something. So that makes it very hard. Or modify Tbot's data for malicious purposes, I know SQL injections. I know about SQL injection checks, but Tbot has no way that people can do SQL injection checks, because we don't allow you to insert a query or anything. We already have all these queries pre-built depending on what you type, and making sure it's a valid command. If it's a valid command, then we take that command name, and then we for them, we'll start pulling from stuff in the database. Yo, imagine. So Boris actually attempted to hack Tbot once. This was even before we created the database, which was good. Boris basically just spammed ELO. Back when we had ELO, Boris spammed ELO. I think this is a good point to bring this up. But Boris, back when we actually had ELO, he would spam it. He spammed over these bots. You know, it would auto-react to it, so it would show only Boris at the top of the leaderboard. And, man. That's actually why I stopped ELO, because it was dead at the time, actually, too. It was dead at the time, also. That was... So the way TCC actually has a Tbot contributor, because they didn't, well, they actually did do coding at one point. TCH it contributes to Tbot in a couple ways. I did give them access to we did give them access to Tbot's code base actually once. Yeah. TCC might not know this, but dude, I remember back in the day where we had to actually spend hours upon hours editing 1 million files, dude, just so we would update from Discord.js v13 to the newest version of Discord.js, which is now Discord.js version 14. No, back then when I was creating Tbot, Discord.js 14 was around, but I saw a bunch of YouTube tutorials. It's like, okay, well, I should probably be using Discord 13.js because this is what I know. But eventually I had to update to version 14. It became a mess, dude. It became a mess. So I wanted somebody, I don't care if they had programming knowledge or not. I don't think TCC had programming knowledge or not, but I explained to TCH what they needed to do to update the files. And it was like, okay. I'm pretty sure we did that. Because I invited them to Whipple back when we was actually using Whipple for Tbot. Yeah, I did. Because we used Whipple to host Tbot way before it kind of like turned into this you pay for stuff. It was a ridiculous place, dude. It's before, you know, the whole database was a thing. This was because I was needing to edit every file to update to the new version of Discord.js. Which was v14. I was using v13. And I needed help editing all of these files. I didn't really care whether we had programming knowledge or not. I just wanted somebody who I could trust. Was at TCC, you know. We actually explained TCH how to, you know, mess around with the files. With the code base, how to update it because it was taking me too long. to do it. TCC also gave us all of the information for every card and PCOs. Let me pull up a random example of this. Sorry. But I'm sure TC should find this. Or store zombie, for example. Just pull that up. But TCC, actually, back in the day, they asked for the specific feature, so it was kind of a lot to implement. And it took me like months, dude. It took me like a couple months. I actually admit this. But TCC, they actually gave us all the information for the code, so it became way easy to just take that information and copy where it was needed, but it still takes a lot of time to do that. Codes and PCs. So, I don't know. It's probably cool to get up like probably. Oh no, yeah, this is the middle. Like, if it helps you. Hold up. I don't know if it does or not, but we shall see. Yeah. Tbot DC gave us all the information from so we can ways just copied all that. So to copy that. So can ways to copy that. How do I want to approach this? So you could give me ideas of what to create. Let's see. Let me think about this. So, if you want to contribute to Tbot, oh, no, because we don't even get that many deck lists. We don't. We don't get that many deck lists, and not much work to do now since I use the database for everything. The amount of work that was to do to Tbot now was like nothingness. Because we already done everything. You would have to force well come to an idea that we don't have. And then I'd consider letting you. Maybe consider it. Letting you into the project. But I would consider you letting you contribute to the project. But I have to make sure that I can trust you. That's my main thing. The force war. I would consider actually, I don't even need to do that with GitHub. But they would start to develop the feature. They want to have access to the database, though. If it is needed. The issue with is people can't contribute to the Tbot project either. Just think about this. If somebody fork this, which they can do, somebody could fork this, right? which means they would have that exact same. They would have all this information, but they need to have access to files we don't list on here. They need to have access to files we don't list on here. We don't list these files on here because that is sensitive information. If somebody had those files, then Tbot would be hacked. Tbot would be hacked if somebody had those files. If it was needed to. Otherwise, I don't know. They would have to make their own database. Yeah, they have to make their own database, actually. Kind of better. They would make their own database, and then they would have a. Yeah, I'm not gonna put any information on Steam, because then somebody will hack Tbot. But you'd pretty much have to make your own database, and you'd have to store some sort of information in it. Then you have to modify Tbot's code. It's hard to work for. Somebody, I don't know if you begin or not, but yeah. That doesn't use a database. Then, GitHub allows you to push recommendations to people. GitHub does allow you to do that somehow. You could push you could ask for a pull request or a push request, and then I'll be able to verify whether or not I want to implement that Tbot. And then DM me or attempt to. Tbot's GitHub. Can actually send pull push requests, which I'm surprised about. So review it. But what do you give? Tbot data. Put that. I think that's good. Now we'll explain the next question. Scroll back down to the bottom. Okay. So I need to take the previous answer to somebody's question and repost it. I need to change some things about it, so I have enough room to explain the next portion of the question. Which one has? Because there's one that. Yeah, this one. What is it, dude? I know I'm replying to it. I know. Just go down the bottom to him, and then just go back up. So, I made us originally want to create Tbot. It's because I need to get my feed during programming. I need to make sure I want to stay in this field. Only freshman year. I already had this as my major. Make sure I want to stay in this major and do it for my future one. Tbot maybe want to stay. Just accept me in stone for this major one. And then we'll get those same images. We'll just get the same images. We'll get the same images again. Now these images kind of give me Warsaw because we're taking a screenshot of a screenshot, which is kind of bad practice, but I don't know, I'm lazy. I feel like saving the image. That's why some of these screenshots might look different than the first time we sent them, because we're taking a screenshot of a screenshot. It's weird. There was another portion of the question they asked. To explain this differently. So I could take off a good portion of this. Yeah, I could take off a good portion of this. Like this shouldn't be on here. Okay, so when I was first creating Tbot, I didn't have enough experience in JavaScript, honestly. I didn't have enough experience in JavaScript. I'm hoping to look at my, I think I had enough experience in JavaScript tonight. I heavily relied on tutorials. Your tutorials teach me everything. Teach me everything about now I mean let me get this straight. YouTube tutorials are like they're a good starting point, but eventually you need to break away from them so you can actually make sure you actually know what you're doing. It's a thing that we call in programming called tutorial hell. We are just constantly following tutorials and can't stop following them. You can't make up anything of your own without watching a YouTube video, or without, asking nowadays it's just like asking AI, how do I create this, or how do I fix this bug. That's all it is these days now, is asking AI how to do things. That's really sad. It is really sad. For me at the time, because I had no knowledge at all. But nowadays, you can't really follow tutorials. Wait, you actually upload still? Oh, what the heck? When did you make a port 2? What happened to this port 1? Oh, it's you. Operators, the one JavaScript for Tbot. That's interesting. This is the way you should have been teaching originally. Was actually showcasing the JavaScript language. But he just showed you how to make how to make embeds and everything. So this guy was the channel that sort of, but I don't know how useful his videos are now, because a lot of these older videos I actually used, they're outdated. They're all version 13 and everything. I think this was what helped me with embeds. This was what helped me figure out how to use embeds. And dude. Or someone help me figure things out. With Tbot and how to do code. So I'm not gonna say I'm the sole creator of Tbot, because I did hire somebody to help me create Tbot. But I needed the knowledge to take from a mentor, or somebody who already knew what they was doing pretty well. fuck this. Mentor is knowledge. Tbot. Yeah. This is all that I can kind of send. Where should I throw this at? I don't know. Stories over. Stories over. Oh dear. This. I used like 3 years ago. Now outdated. Let's have a good community. It actually has a good community that'll help you when I play game. But I think it would be more important to warn the Discord JS guide and its documentation and utilize the Discord.js actually is for. Utilize the Discord.js server to ask people questions. To develop X, Y, or Z, well, they won't give you the code. Code for this, and they really shouldn't, because it prevents the link process. What am I wanting to send now? There we go. Alright. And then I could pull up the Discord.js guide. Quickly. Discord.js guide. No, this is not what it's looking for. They changed it? Oh, they did change it. They did change it. Looks different. It's weird. Why does it say legacy? I don't know. But this is what you would follow. I don't know if you want to create slash commands or not. If you didn't want to create slash commands, then I would recommend watching the video because it at least teach about message commands and how to store them. How to have a message commands. Oh, dude, no. I want to just... Let's put it like this. Getting started. Can I do this? Yeah. I'll put that there. Put that as the guide. Okay. Am I doing an introduction here? Okay. Put the introduction up then. Yeah. I don't know why it says why it ends with legacy. I don't know what that is. Might go and ask them about that. But yeah. So those are the two things I would give you. I would give you the Discord.js server and the Discord.js documentation.
only recommend go through this video if you wanted to use message commands. But Discord nowadays push slash commands. Okay. Discord JS server is very helpful because you could actually talk to the people who implemented the library. People who implemented the library. Gosh, my throat is so bugged right now. Who implemented the library? It's not because I've been talking here for the last 2 hours or something, dude. Alright, what do we want to do now? What ones have we not completed yet? Okay, we'll go with Boris this thing here. How long did it take you to code Tbot? Tbot took us a long time, actually. But this question's, I don't know which version of Tbot you're asking about, but if you're talking about the original version of Tbot before you made a whole database thing. The basics of Tbot. Code was, so it would take somebody like it'll probably only take you a month, actually, not even a couple months. Okay, a month. Adding on to it after that. But the ideas are done. The code are done, so just do a lot of cut paste though. But the way Tbot works now, database and all that, is that it would take people a couple months at once, actually. Of months to on this, because doing databases, doing SQL, JavaScript. So then you have to spend months just put in the data into the database. After that, go on how to pull the data and showcase the data. Functions and JavaScript. So the more complicated something becomes, more complicated something becomes, the longer it would take someone to build to code a Tbot. Did I type this typo? Typos, yeah. So, next question. So it feels like I'm trying to blaze through this now, but we've been coding this for like 2 hours, dude. Why is Tbot called Tbot? Okay. Alright. Why is Tbot called Tbot? Let's see here. What was that question? Here we go. Tbot because Tbot is not as exciting as Tbot. I am not tryhard. So I need to attach my name to. Need to attach some portion of my name to a project. So I took the first letter of my name, T-bone, T, added right after it. Do it. Okay. What's the next question? Did that. Okay, this question. I like this question. Mono's question is interesting. So where was that question at? There you go. Well, I would have changed. Just originally. Should have been using a database. For Tbot, but it's not aware of this. Aware of this. When I was first creating the bot, Tbot wasn't aware of databases until like wasn't aware of databases. So you after created the bot, database management class. You know, that's all we learned about databases was from this one specific class called database management. It was like, okay, start figuring out how to store this data, somewhere outside of the code. So I don't have to edit any files in the code to move or add a deck. It's definitely caused a lot of bugs. Definitely caused a lot of bugs. Yeah, it's anything I would have changed. Alright. So I wasn't aware of database until like for 2023 class, I had a database management class. From there I learned about databases, how companies store data, how they use data, so they don't have to store it internally in the code. And when you try to store something internally in the code, you have to mess around you have to mess around with at least 10 files. Might be less depending on what you're doing, but you would have to like mess around with a ton of files. Is what I'm saying. I say cause a lot of bugs. Cause a lot of bugs too. Sure. Okay. The questions that we have. I think this is the last one here, actually. Why was the force deck put into Tbot? I don't know, actually. How would I know that? So, if we go back here, right? Before this time I posted Tbot in here, we definitely was I hate this. Why did I do this? Hold up. Old. Yeah, this. This was the force deck that I showcased. When I added Tbot to here. And Tbot was added on here like 2 days after I created it, but to actually track down the force deck, I don't know. I don't remember what the force deck actually Tbot was, but we was adding any deck that Tryhard had in his bot. Oh, this was a long time ago. What are we doing here? What is it at? Here we go. This is the question here. Tbot, I don't actually know. Because it was a long time ago. And I don't remember. Time was just adding any deck Tryhard's Me 6 had. Forced. From Tbot was OTK Swabby, because of course it was. It's OTK Swabby. It was OTK Swabby. Because why not? The days when Fish was around, dude. Fish won't win. I wonder what happened to him. So then people, we didn't add like every deck of we talked about. We had to figure out tell people like, I'll be added to more, you know. Don't mind if I check a few more. Yeah. And then we added more and more Tbots to the command. More questions, man. Back when we was streaming, dude. Back when we was streaming and colors didn't actually impact my life. Tbot was OTK Swabby. And we continued to take deck lists from Schweihold. But even like on November 20th, we had all of these commands listed here, right? It's just weird. We had all of these commands listed here. Because I was looking on Tbot for the past like 2 days actually. Can we go back any photo actually? Let's see here. It's older one? No, that's newer actually. Yeah, older shows up on the top actually. Yeah, but even on the same day this was added, we had a commands channel. Had a commands command. But I don't remember which one of these was added first actually. I don't remember. But the first deck that we showcased on Tbot to the Horde was, yeah, I just put that was so I don't remember because we're just taking anything. What do we want to answer next now? Been doing this for 2 hours and 30 minutes, jeez.